Kemper Profiler Tones and Talks, episode 13. Is that correct? Okay, and we have, how do we call it? Rose Monday. Nobody knows about this. That's the carnival season here in Germany. Not in northern Germany where I am, and not in your area, I guess, or just not in your...
not in this studio.
Okay. So currently the country is going crazy in some areas, but we are serious and stick to the point and have a new video, new tones to look into, and they are also available as a download. Look at Kemper Amps That Rig Show in Rig Manager and in the download section on the Kemper website. We are looking at episode 13, and to start and let you know what this is about, here's the video. Thank you again, Thomas Dill created that video, Tone Show number 13. And yeah, that's Quentin Carbonara, spaghetti alla Tarantino. Because that's the obvious thing to say. It's a surf tone, it's a classic Dick Dale approach. Indeed. And again, this piece of music you put together, it's already a little movie soundtrack, so everybody can have some images in their mind. And so how did you put this together? Because, yeah, this Strat you're using there, it's the Edge model, or?
Yes, it's the Edge playing Tarantino sounds. It's the Edge signature Strat. To be honest, I'm not really a huge U2 fan. I really love the Edge sound, but I'm not this die-hard fan. It's a great Strat. So that's why I bought it. I got it for a review, and I've played it, and I think it was after some chords, I said, okay, that's the one that sounds a bit different. So it's for the Strat players, it's a bit, I call it the pop Strat. So it's more polished Strat sounds than the bluesier Struts. But yeah, it's a great guitar, and this surf tone, it's but I think it's more a hi-fi surf tone than the old school 60s surf sounds. But I tell you later why.
Okay, yeah, but that's, I mean, obvious. It's it would be possible to create that, but why not make it the best version of today out of that? But regarding the guitar, would you, because to understand that what you mean by it's more like a pop Strat, would it be more like the John Mayer PRS thing approach? Because they told the story about they tried to iron out some of the idiosyncrasies of the pickups and the sound of the Strat, that it's a little bit more even and not so filled with highs and lows, where there are peaks in some frequencies and some dips in some frequencies. Would you call it? Would you describe it like that? I haven't tried this.
Maybe
yet.
I didn't play the John Mayer Strut from Fender or the John Mayer PIS Strut style guitar, but this is more. This is sparkling, clean tones. Especially with that. Wait a minute. If you ask, there is one favorite rig in Michael Britt's. Where's Michael Britt? Here's Michael Britt. The divided by 13. Wait a minute, I share the screen. Here we are. So here is this divided by 13 rig from Michael Britt, and this is. It sounds, for me, really sparkling. And it's great for pop guitar sounds.
It sounds a little bit like it's already some. It got some treatment already, like a Strat sound that's worked upon, with a little compressor and a little bit of EQ. But this is just straight the guitar into the amp as it was, and I saw that there were no other processes involved. And okay, so that's some good info before we get into the tones for the viewers and the listeners.
They don't bill it anymore.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Was a failure?
Yeah, totally. I'm glad to have it.
Okay. Yeah, cool. All right. So diving into that spaghetti western surf Dick Dale type of tone, the modern version. So Thomas, please take over. You had, of course, some ideas and vision where you wanted to go with this and make it a little bit more, as you said, polished than the raw vintage one. So go.
I share the screen again. So here we are. This is the Surf Spring setting. Kemper drive is on, amp is on, studio EQ, and a spring reverb, which is totally crucial for these spaghetti western surf style sounds. And I break it down to the top. Everything's off, and here we are with, again, the Tweed Deluxe. As you hear it, totally clean, and presence and treble are raised a bit. Q position is pre, and I really want to have this very thin sound, and the bass is turned down a little bit because you need for this a really light bass response, so not a woolly bass sound, and the definition is turned up to 6.6, and this is something where I try to get the best sound with the EQ, treble and presence, and bass, and the definition parameter, because if you turn the definition down, you get a more woolly bass sound, more vintage tone, but it's a bit too woolly and too fat for the lower strings. So I raise that up, but not too much. If you have it on 10, the higher notes are sounding a little bit too harsh. Especially when you pick hard, and this is something you should do with those surf sounds. So this is something like a compromise, turning to 6.6 and raise treble and presence, but with the EQ position pre. So they hit the gain stage, and it's a softer sound in the higher frequencies. When you use it with the EQ position pre, if you have post, pre, it's a bit softer. Especially if you raise them a little bit more, then you get some really harsh tones if you need. But this is the setting for the amp, and then I add the Kemper drive to get a little bit of overdrive, but only when I hit the strings really hard. Off. Okay. And it shapes the sound a little bit. So the tone also is raised up a bit. Definition is at a higher level. And that's what I've, what I've found out. If you want to have a really more treble sound, it's better to have different modules adding a little bit of high frequencies instead of raise up everything at the amp or something like that. So that's my sound and my combination: clean amp with a bit treble and presence raised up, and the drive just to shape the tone a little bit, to get it a little bit overdriven if I want to, and raise the treble a little bit also. And then we go to the studio EQ. There I don't raise the trebles. I just put a high cut at 8.4K and a low cut. Just as I mentioned in a video before that, to get this speaker frequency range. The guitar speaker only goes to, I think, about 7.5 or something like that. And so I'm cutting everything, not down to 7.5, just to 8.4. And the low frequency also, just to have this range.
At this point, maybe just a little bit of explanation, or how would you call it? Tone philosophical musing, because there's either this or how do you treat the pure cabinet parameter in comparison to that? Would that do also something that you try to achieve with your high and low cut settings? Because basically what it does is it gets the guitar speaker back into its original realm, so to say, frequency-wise. Because if you put a microphone in front of it, you add some stuff that's higher, and this stuff that's so typical that what usually guitar players don't like, because the round tone is a little bit damaged with this high frequency stuff. And yeah, the low cut and the high cut, they put it back into the original, basically. And the pure cabinet parameter also takes away that microphone effect out of the mic'd guitar signal. So have you compared that, or
not
just not?
really.
Maybe we can do that afterwards, and that would be a point to
we could do something like a comparison. I think you hear these pure cabinet parameters very good with high gain sounds. And to be honest, I'm not the guy who experiments with this pure cabinet parameter. I think it's on 3.
Sometimes it's completely off, and sometimes it's by default at a low rate. Maybe just
I have it on 3. It's a default setting from.
Okay.
factory default. And I'm the guy who experiments with the studio EQ.
Okay.
So I shape the sound, the frequency range always with the studio EQ, because there are some frequencies I want to boost, some frequencies I want to lower down. And for me, the studio EQ does the job really great.
Okay. Cool.
But we can do that. Okay, next. Sharing the screen again. Here we go. And spring reverb. This is the one who creates the magic of the spring of the surf sound.
And here, really intense and so important, because that's known from these typical tones, the dripstone parameter, I guess.
Yeah. And when I start to, or when I like to create some surf style sounds, I always start with the spring fan, with the preset. I will load that in this empty module, then we can compare. Here's spring reverb, and then spring fan. This is a recreation or inspired by the Fender spring reverb unit with a decay time of 3 seconds, dripstone in the middle, spring signs, everything in the middle, and the mix at 60%. So this is the original, the preset. And what I did is just raise the decay time and raise the dripstone. Spring size is 1 point, so forget that. And the mix a little bit more. I turn that off. And dripstone is very important, because if you turn it down, you have this sound. If you turn it up, it's clacker.
Yeah.
Without, it sounds a bit, not that dirty. You get the dirt sound with the dripstone parameter. So if you really need that more dirty sound, turn it on and turn it at a higher level, maybe at.
It has a little bit the character of when the spring hits a little bit the case. And, at this point, there might be room for this anecdote. I had this Furman spring reverb when I had my first PA back in the 80s. Oh yeah. It was a 19-inch 1U device, a spring reverb by Furman, like this deep, and it had a couple of huge reverb springs there. And at one small club in the city of Bochum, Germany, Zeche, a lot of international artists know this place, somebody fell over and hit the table where this little rack with that spring reverb was on, and the rack was just bumping, and the springs were bumping up and down in this case, and there were no compressors, no limiters, nothing. So you couldn't imagine what kind of explosion happened in that room, because this dynamics of these springs it's just unbearable. So yeah, that was really something. Somebody should have sampled that, but that's basically the dripstone effect on steroids. So yeah, back to now.
I have a Fender old Fender twin reverb, and if you place this on the floor of the stage, and the stage is really a bit wobbling, and somebody is jumping, you hear
Mhm.
can't play with that. So you need to raise the amp up. So-
Yeah.
but sometimes you like to have that sound, or this sound creates this little dirt. And what I mentioned before, that this is the hi-fi version of the surf sound. This is because I put the spring reverb at the end of the signal chain. If you really like to have this original sound, then place the spring reverb in front of the amplifier. So you get this Fender style tone, and the reverb hits the preamp and creates some overdrive sound if you want that. And it's in mono. Here it is, not stereo, but it's the old school way. And you should do that also with the tremolo or the delay. Put that in front of it and get a more dirty, gritty sound from the effects going into the input of the amp.
Maybe even in front of the Kemper drive.
Yeah, you can do that too. But
You really want to have that the full dirt.
Let me show you the other sounds, then we can experiment. So this is the main sound for the first part. Then when I play the higher melody, I add a tremolo and the serial 2-tap delay. The serial 2-tap delay is just a slapback echo, but normally you use a single delay with one repeat to get this But now I have, wait a minute, the original sound should be like, yeah, I show you with a single delay. Don't want to disturb the settings here.
Sure.
But it's just to get 2 repeats more and in stereo. So they come left and right. So this is the delay, and it's set on time value 1/16th note at value 1, value 2, feedback at 0. So that means the minimal feedback you can get with that delay. And yeah, that's it. Mix 64 and a high cut. That's very important to get these analog or tape delay sounds. The repeats are not at the same frequency range as the original signal. You need a high cut in there.
With even more cut activated. So
even more.
Steep high cut.
Yeah. Okay, then tremolo. This is set, the rate is set to 8 notes. Depth is very high at 8.1. And that's all for the tremolo. You know, it's just to simulate the tremolo section in some Fender amps. And again, I put it behind the stack. And for this, now I'm changing something. Let me check. We have Kemper Fuzz, Kemper Drive. We don't need the pure booster. It's just prepared to experiment with that. I put the Kemper Drive in front, the tremolo sits here, spring reverb here, and the 2-tap delay here.
Yeah, people, you realize that you can easily drag and drop, between the module slots.
So this will be my vintage tone. And again, we talked about that in another episode about the tremolo behind the spring reverb. And I checked my Fender Twin, and I asked my guy who repairs my Twin, and he said that the old Fender amps have every amp which has a tremolo, or they called it vibrato, has it placed behind the spring reverb. So we get this reverb with tremolo, and that sounds great. And with a delay in front of the amp, maybe if I turn the amp a little bit up, so I get a more dirty, more up here. And so this is just a little preview for the next Legends Tribute Collection.
Yeah, I saw this is coming. Legend Collection number 4, I think it's already. And that's something where we should get into a little bit then when this is released as well. Into some of the special tones you got. So that's episode 2. No, that's season 2 then of Tones and Talks.
Tones and Talks, yeah. Talk about the Legends Tribute Collection.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is my so the conclusion of all that is, if you want to have a polished sound, put the go the normal way and put reverb, delay, tremolo behind the stack. If you want to have the old school way, put it in front, and maybe put it in front of the Kemper drive. We didn't try that. So checking out. Oh, I need to share the screen.
Yeah, there should be then just more, everything more together, the effects a little bit more mushing into each other, I guess. Wow. If you would bring down the mix a little bit for a second of the spring reverb,
yes, I can do.
Then that tone is just something else as well. Yeah, this reverb tail with the distortion and this frequency change, then this is really authentic. Whenever that was, 60s.
Yeah, it's up to now. So this sound is modern than ever.
Mm-hmm.
And again, try to do some different things.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah, to add a little bit of character. That's always the thing. I think this has changed, and in certain genres, they never changed because they stayed dirty, maybe. But if you follow the guitar mainstream development in regards of tone and what was cool and what was to go for, a lot of there was this pristine area with the racks and stuff, and everything should have been
Come to that next.
the distortion, all the rectified stuff, very, very round and controlled, and the effects as well. And now I think everything is on this palette that could and should be used. And the more individual the sounds are, and the more outstanding they are, because they are not so equally sounding. They cut through a mix in a much different way and much more interesting. Most probably.
I think the important word is character.
Yeah.
So a sound needs some kind of character, something that sticks out, that can be the way of distortion, that can be an effect, the tail of the reverb, the delay which has a lo-fi sound combined with a hi-fi guitar tone, hi-fi clean tone. So yeah, anything, but add some character to your sound, and the line will stick out more.
Absolutely. And I was just about to say something about what Susan Rogers, the lady who worked with Prince for years, she just wrote a book of how we are listening to music and what it tells and what that tells us about ourselves. That's a good reference as well to learn something about creativity. She has a weird example for where it's all about character, and basically musically it's not really interesting or good or enjoyable at all, but it has so much character, and that's why people started to get into this in a weird way. And she was referencing a girl band called The Shags. You most probably haven't heard of them. And if you want to be amazed, just check it out on. They are on Apple Music. I checked it, and on Spotify as well. The Shags. They were completely dislocated. Had no connection to the music industry. Their dad pushed them to create a trio and make a record. And it's just listen for yourself.
Okay, I do that.
Speaking of character. And this book is also to be recommended. Susan Rogers. Okay, so I guess for this tone, put on your shorts and long for the sun, and do some surf music with the Kemper Profiler. Thank you, Thomas Dill, and we'll meet again with the next episode of Tones and Talks about that tone show. Take care. Bye.
Bye.